Hey, what's up, guys? Clayton gets here. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Dominic Parikh, the general manager of Real Wallet. And so we've talked about Wallet in the past, but we're going to be able to do a really deep dive with the guy who is responsible for building this amazing platform out. Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm here with the general manager of Real Wallet, Dominic Parikh, and so excited to do a deep dive on, what is the Real Wallet and what really separates this technology and this financial technology, I should say, Dominic, from what everybody else is, other brokerage offerings, for example. It's so unique, and so I'd love if you would just to kind of introduce. I think you're going to do a better job of telling people about, your history, your background, and then we'll unpack this thing.
Awesome. Well, look, Clayton, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. Big fan of the podcast and the advice and the information. I feel like I've learned a ton from listening to you and talking to you directly. So it's really great to be here and to chat to your audience as well. So look, as you said, I'm Dominic. I'm here at Real. I run the wallet program. And yeah, just by way of introduction for everybody. So I joined Real a couple of months ago, so I'm quite new to the brokerage, but I'm not new to fintech. And actually, spent my career trying to build solutions for small business owners, for entrepreneurs, especially to help them access capital and grow their business. I spent the last 8 years at a company called Funding Circle. We were a digital SMB lending platform. So what that meant was that we were trying to offer loans to business owners that they could access really easily from their phone or from their computer online, 10-minute application, decision within one day, money in your account within a week. Totally different experience to what you get from a bank, but at rates that were kind of similar to what you could get from a bank as well. So really passionate about the opportunity that technology brings to improve the quality of financial services for entrepreneurs, for business owners. And that's why I joined Real, right? Because you don't get companies that are as innovative as Real out there very
Mhm.
often, right? I mean, you know that, everyone, we all know
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And that spirit of innovation, that opportunity to build new things, is what got me excited about this company, and it's what I'm here to do.
We've done a whole like episode and broken this thing down previously, but not with someone with your knowledge of the product, in the room. So what is Real Wallet and why is it important as far as, our community is concerned?
Yeah, 100%. Um, so here's what I'd say. I think as we've grown the brokerage and we talk to agents obviously all the time about what's going well, what's not going well, and obviously Real as a company, Real as a brokerage has worked so closely with agents to improve the brokerage experience, to make that simpler and bring in technology. One of the pain points we hear about from agents is around their financial services as well as the brokerage side of things, right? Around pain points with their way they get paid, with the way ultimately their own goals to build wealth for their families. And so it's really, Wallet here is about taking that spirit of innovation that Real has as a company, Real has as a brokerage, and bringing it to the financial lives of the agents that we work with, right, and the teams that we work with. And so there's so many different pain points that we can work on together, right? But that's the kind of core of the idea is to solve those financial pain points to allow agents to build that long-term wealth.
Mhm. And so let's talk about, since let's just stay on that topic. So how are we going to do that from your perspective?
Yeah, totally. So I think like, what are the opportunities to make things easier, right? To remove the barriers that often people face when it comes to their financial lives. So I want to talk, firstly about the way that you know, at Real, we obviously bring everything together in this
Hmm.
platform around reason, right?
Hmm.
And we've done that with all the brokerage services, right? So obviously agents interacting all the time with Reason to complete transactions and take care of their businesses.
And
Um,
to be clear, I mean to cut you off, Dominic, but Reason is our app, our technology
yeah,
platform, so all in one, and the fintech product is a part of that. Okay.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Wallet is then part of Reason, right? So
Hmm.
Real Wallet is another a feature within that app that as an agent, you're already interacting with every day. So it's
Hmm.
not in some other place.
Yeah.
It's there and it's integrated with the rest of your business. And so, to give you an example, we can talk later about some of the features that we already have. But give you an example, when you get paid into Wallet, you see that money directly in Reason in your account, right? You don't have to then log into a different account somewhere else to see that money. It's all there, right?
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
that's a really important part of what we're doing is we're trying to, people talk about embedded finance. It's kind of a buzzword
Hmm.
in the industry right now, but it really means like embedding those financial services, those tools into the places where you already are, where you're already doing business. And we want to be at the center of that for our agents and giving them the right tools within reason that they need.
Mm. Yeah. And so, one of those tools that, I got really excited about, as is integrating and let's just talk tools and capability. So integrating the profit first banking model, our version of it, into the wallet. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that, you know, uh, frankly, that was one of the reasons why I was excited about moving all of my business, money over to the wallet is because of that automation uh, of the profit first system. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, let me start by saying like it's so important, obviously. And the most foundational thing when it comes to money is I think having trust and having control, right? Because it's your money, it's your business, and you need to trust that you know where that money is, that it's safe, and you want to be in control of that money. You don't want someone else to be in control of that money. So that's kind of at the core of everything we're doing at Wallet. We want to make sure that everything we build meets those basic expectations that people rightly have when it comes to their money. Um, and when you talk there about the profit first model, what you're talking about is, the ability for agents to have that control over the money that they earn, to put it into the accounts that they want to have it in, and to create have that segmentation, right? So what we have today in Wallet, right? So one of our features that I can talk about here is the most important feature. It's the real Wallet business checking account and the tax planning account that goes alongside that. So this allows agents to essentially direct when they get paid by Real to get paid into one of these accounts, have that money, it's in their name, it's all FDIC insured, it's provided by providers, so it's a real bank account that they own. Um, have that money in that account, but it comes in there, by the way, much more quickly than if it were to go into an external bank account because it's a
Hmm.
transfer within the Real ecosystem, as within Reason, so the money's in there. But an agent can decide, okay, well, I want to leave this portion of my money in my real wallet as a checking account. Maybe that's my profit first amount, right? And I want to then take this other amount out and use that to pay these expenses. And a similar principle, by the way, applies to the tax planning account, which I just have to mention here because if you haven't heard
Yeah,
about it,
please.
honestly, really, really awesome. So, you know, like many people, I'm a W-2 employee. So I
Hmm.
don't have to worry about tax time coming around
Yeah.
because almost all my taxes are being
Already. Yeah.
held through the
Yeah.
process, right?
The government. I've read a book here recently, Dominic.
Yeah.
Uh, that I'll think of it and put the link in the description. But it was talking about how the government, I think it was in the 1920s, the U.S. citizens only had to pay taxes once per year, and it was in the spring.
Mm,
And what happened is that the government realized that U.S. citizens didn't have very good spending habits. So by the time, that tax payday came around, they didn't have the money to pay their taxes. So what did they do? They automated the movement of their money. And so this is the same principle. We're just doing what the government wised up and said, we're gonna automate people, W-2 employees pulling that pushing
yeah.
that tax money to the government, right? Please continue.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right, right? So, as an employee, I don't have to worry about the money being set aside. Now, I will say there's two big differences with our tax planning account. The first one is that you still have control, right? I don't
Yeah,
have a choice about
that's
my
that's
about
right.
my
That's
salary being
right.
held, but
Yeah.
you have a choice
Maybe
here.
we shouldn't have control, to be honest,
Well,
but
yeah,
but yeah,
slightly
yeah.
wrongly, but
But
yeah.
we do. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as an agent, you can say, well, I want this proportion of my money to be set aside,
Yeah.
right? So you can think about what's right for you and your business and your needs, right? You have that
Yeah.
control. And secondly, it's still your money, right? Until you pay that bill, pay that tax bill, it's still in an account in your name that you own, that you control, right? It's not being taken away from you. So I think, it's meeting the same need, but it's doing it in a way that, going back to our point earlier, you have that trust and you have that control over the money as well.
When will these accounts have the ability to be interest bearing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like it's a totally good question, right? And I think that's that can be important. People use accounts for different purposes, and you get
Hmm.
this today, in the broader financial system, right? Not every account is the same, and depending if
Yeah.
it's a checking account that you're just trying to transact in and out, then often that's less important versus making sure you have like a great way of spending that money, a really good card, really good payments features, those types of things are often more important for that type of account. But then there are other
Yeah.
types of accounts, like for example, if you're trying to save money for the long term, right? When obviously earning money on that is pretty much the most important thing, right? So I think we should just remember that different accounts have different people have different
Yes.
needs, right? We want to
Yes.
we want to meet our agents where they are. We want to give them the right features that they need so they can run their businesses effectively. Now, what we're looking at, and this is a preview now to
Hmm. Hmm.
coming, right? A few things that
Hmm.
we're working on that are really exciting that the team are working flat out on right now.
Hmm.
One of the things we're working on is a system where as you engage with wallet products as an agent, you get rewarded for doing that, right? In the same way that you might get rewarded by your bank for using a credit card or to your
Hmm.
point, storing money in an account, right?
Yes.
So what we want is to give agents points for
Hmm.
for not just for having money in their accounts, but also for using the Visa debit card that comes with the checking account.
Hmm.
Um, and for those points to be valuable, right? And for those points to be usable by agents, then to gain value, for example, through be able to use them to save money on the fees they might otherwise pay the brokerage,
Yes.
um, and also to reward the most loyal agents with the most value, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
more to come on this topic.
Yeah.
I think it will go some way to meeting that need, which is to say, if I use this product, I get value from using it, as well as all the features that I get access to, because we don't charge for any of these products.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really interesting, as I pull out my my real Visa debit card, just so everybody can see what we're talking about here. And so very, I mean, first of its kind, like no brokerage that I know of, Dominic, in the world,
Right.
is offering this kind of baked in fintech product. So and it's just to make sure we don't skim over this. So we will have the ability down the road to pick an interest bearing account, or pick an account to be interest bearing if it's, for example, like I look at the tax account because I'm only moving money out of there once a quarter for to pay quarterly estimated taxes. So that would probably qualify in a traditional banking world to
Yeah.
be an interest bearing account. So will we have that capability, or is it going to be more of a points based kind of thing?
Well, so what I'd say is we're focused. I mean, look, you know, and everyone watching this knows how Real works, right? We're all about trying to build new features,
Hmm.
and learn and improve them, right? This is a work in progress company, and that's what makes it so exciting because we're always improving things,
Yes.
right? So, nothing we're doing, just like 6 months ago, if you compare where we are today to where we were
Yeah.
6 months
It's
ago, it's
wild.
unrecognizable, right?
It's wild.
Same
You
thing.
were you even here?
Exactly. I wasn't there,
Yeah,
but like,
right.
but still, I look at it and it's just
Yeah.
everything's changed. And again, where we are now to where we're going to be in 6 months' time is going to be different again, right? But better, of course, right?
Yeah.
So I think nothing ever stands still here. What we're really focused on right now in terms of our immediate next kind of release, is going to be about the rewards points I talked about earlier, which like I say are going to be valuable points that
Hmm.
give value in the same way that earning interest might give value. I think
Got it.
we're talking about there, which is potentially having like more of like a high yield savings account or something where there's
Hmm.
probably like a
Hmm.
longer term solution. Maybe, right? I think what
Yeah.
we want to do is like what we always do, which is to listen to feedback from agents and
Yes.
prioritize our development on the things that matter most to the most agents.
Yeah. Well, and maybe you can clarify this because it's I want to make sure I've been sharing this point with the right way. So it's my understanding that, and just so people understand like how points work, because we don't often think about it, but if you're in real estate and you're currently using like an American Express card or some sort of airline card where you receive points and you can utilize those points to pay for airline tickets, travel rewards, things of that nature, or a Capital One venture card. I have pretty much all of those, right? And so what happens is every time we swipe those cards as consumers, an interchange fee takes place, and an interchange fee would be the same thing, Dominic, as a merchant charge. Is that correct?
So yeah, I mean the merchant who receives the payment pays something as like a
Mhm.
fee, as a convenience fee in order to receive that payment. Yeah.
Okay. And in our case, correct me if I'm wrong, 50% of that interchange fee, that merchant charge, goes back to Real, and 50% goes back to the agent in the form of points.
So okay, so we're getting into how how the fees work. Yeah, so it's not you're not far off, I would say.
Okay.
So I think there's different people involved. There's different parties involved, and every time you use a debit card, there's many parties that are involved. And
Okay.
actually, you obviously have the merchant, but you have like the card network. You know, we work
Hmm.
with a an issuing bank, one of our
Hmm.
wonderful friends at Thread Bank, who issue the card. So there's different people that basically make that payment happen
Hmm.
all the way through, right? Um,
Hmm.
so the fees that get charged that the merchant typically pays, as you said earlier, you know, get kind of divided up to
Hmm.
enable that whole ecosystem to work, and ultimately
Yep.
mean that you can swipe your card and know that that payment has happened immediately and have all the protections that you get when you use a card. So that's kind of how the fee gets built up. Now when it comes to the rewards program, you know, we want to make it really attractive, right? So we're going to kind
Hmm.
of like we want to launch it properly this summer.
Hmm.
Really kind of share
Hmm.
all the details with everybody when we're ready to launch it. But the
Hmm.
idea, to your point, is to make sure that we're giving really meaningful value back to agents that
Yep.
makes it worthwhile using this card rather
Yes.
than using a different card, right? So that's the
Yeah.
goal that we're aiming for. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I think what's so exciting about it is in Real's best interest to drive adoption to make this product as attractive as possible to the consumer, which are, our agents essentially. And where I was going with that, Dominic, is, this was before you were here, and it was either Pritesh, our chief technology officer, or Tamir, and it could have been both of them at the same time. But the comment was made that if we pull this off, because if you think about it, and again, I get so excited about, I think I probably geek out about this stuff maybe as much as you do, but I get so excited about the concept because I've been doing this for 20 years, and in the traditional brokerage space, even in my little real estate company with 40 plus agents and staff, mortgage and title partnerships are very important to the bottom line,
Mm.
but they're tied to transactions. So if we don't do a transaction, then there is no mortgage relationship. If we don't do a transaction, there is no title relationship. Does that make sense? This card, swiping this card is not tied to transactions.
Right.
It's tied to agents' spending behaviors, which, hopefully are good, but let's be honest, some of them are not. And so all of a sudden we've created a profit center, the first profit center in the industry that is not tied to transactions, certainly in the financial technology space. So the comment was made, if we pull this off, and imagine like tens of thousands of transactions happening. We're in the United States and Canada right now, but as we begin to expand globally, I mean, this could just the point is, and the statement that was made was that this could be worth more than the brokerage, this product and what it
Yeah, I mean, look,
produces.
I of course, like I share your immense excitement about this, right? And if you look at the trajectory that we're on with our wallet features and the way that agents have taken them up, opened checking accounts, opened the tax planning accounts, talked about using the debit cards more and more every month, right?
Mhm.
It's phenomenal, right? It's a faster growth rate than the broader business, right? As we launch these products, and so there's tons of opportunity. You're absolutely right. It's a source of value for agents and for the brokerage that is independent from just the transaction flow. So helps to kind of diversify the business, I suppose, in that respect.
Mhm.
But I want to actually just come back to something you said earlier, because you mentioned
Mhm.
the fact that other brokerages aren't doing this, right? And that's right, and obviously, we want to be the best brokerage. We want to give agents as many reasons as possible to join Real, and I really hope that this is going to be another big reason for agents to join Real. But the people that I think about when I think about who we're competing with as we build Wallet, when we as a Wallet team internally talk about our competition, it's not actually other brokerages. The competition that we face, the people that we have to beat, the people that we have to provide a better service than for agents with Real are the banks and also other financial companies that are trying to provide solutions to our agents, right? Like that's our competition. We want to build such amazing products that agents want to use Real Wallet and don't choose to use their bank. Um, and I think, we think a lot about what gives us the right to believe that we can do that, right? That we can beat them. Now, I told you earlier, I've spent my career trying to out innovate the banks, and I think everyone has their share of stories about problems they've experienced with traditional banks, right? But I would say apart from that, there's a couple of other reasons why we're really excited by the opportunity we have at Real to provide those better experiences. The first one is that we're just building for you, right? If you're a bank, you're building for lots of different people. But
Mhm.
at Real and with Real Wallet, we're building for one audience,
Mhm.
agents with Real, right? And teams with Real. So we can be incredibly focused on building exactly the features that our agents need in a way that nobody else can be, right?
Yeah.
Not only can we build for the features that they need, we can leverage the relationship that we already have, right? The fact that we're already working together through the brokerage,
Mhm.
and that means that we have insights into agents and their businesses that we can leverage to,
Mhm.
for example, if we're thinking about offering a credit line,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
credit line can be calibrated to that agent in a way that a bank simply could never do, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think, that's what gets me so excited because that's our competition.
Yeah.
But I think we have this foundational relationship with our agents, this really
Mhm.
meaningful partnership that we have
Yeah.
that we're going to build on. We're going to build on with Wallet.
Yeah. I love that. So let's unpack that piece, Dominic, because I think this idea of we have as real agents, we have these assets like past transactions, pending transactions, revenue sharing if the agent participates, stock that we're acquiring, both vested shares and unvested shares. Those assets have value, inherent value, and we can't walk into a traditional bank with those assets and say, "Hey, I'd like a line of credit." But what Real has done is they have, and again, I can't wait to hear your perspective on this, is they've developed an underwriting platform that will consistently, over time, underwrite our assets and produce a unique line of credit based on my unique assets. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is
Yeah.
something where we've got kind of a pilot version of this already live in Canada,
Mm,
that we launched at the end of last year, just to a relatively small number of agents, and we've been testing and learning as we build out this capability, and we're now in the process of building kind of a fully fledged product that we're going to launch in select US states this summer, uh,
mm.
and then ultimately roll.
Virginia?
Um, Virginia is not in the very first wave. I'm sorry to tell you, but it will come
It's
soon.
okay. It's okay.
We've chosen quite carefully a number of states where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the quickest to get out there.
Yeah.
Uh, but we will then roll it out as quickly as we can. But what I wanted to say about this product was, as you said already, like it's the really cool thing is that we can calculate a credit available to an agent that is based on their actual business performance. It's not based
Mm,
on guesswork. It's not based on like looking at their personal situation, their personal credit. It's based on their business, right? Because we have those insights
mhm,
that a bank or someone else doesn't have, right?
mhm.
Really
Yeah.
tailor it. And we can also build um, a system for receiving that money. As
Mhm,
an agent, we already have the real wallet business checking accounts. We can make really fast transfers into those, so we can give access to money really quickly
mm,
to somebody else, but also for repaying that money, right? Making that as flexible and easy as possible for
mm,
agents.
mhm,
So, for example, when an agent closes a transaction, being able to use that money to pay down that line of
mhm,
credit and manage that cash flow so that cash is there when you need it, but you can also
mhm,
repay it when you have the cash available.
mm. Yeah, I love that. And so it- how much back to the actually, you know what? I want to circle back to something you said a couple minutes ago because I don't want to gloss over that. And I don't know if you saw me smiling when you said that we're not in competition with other brokerages right now because they don't have this product. We're in competition with trying to make this frankly more attractive than what banks are offering.
Yeah.
And we have the ability to do that because well, explain why like we have the ability to be so flexible with our, quote unquote terms as opposed to using a traditional banking model.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to the foundation of it is this relationship that we have with our agents, right?
Hmm.
It's very special, right? It's
Hmm.
some other party, whether it's a bank or another non-bank that's like another fintech or whoever, trying to work with our agents doesn't have the foundation of the
Hmm.
brokerage
Or the
relationship,
insights.
and therefore doesn't have the insights.
Hmm.
They're not in reason. All these
Hmm.
things that where we are, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of the underlying reason. Then in practice, what that means is that we can um, we have a better understanding of the risk level and the
Hmm.
opportunity that exists to support an agent, with cash flow, for example, right?
Yeah.
Than an outside party would do. Now, this is going to be a learning curve for us too, right?
Of course.
This is
Hmm.
not this is not a once and done product release, but I'm
Hmm.
talking here about the long-term potential that we have, the reasons why we're in a better position. And what we're going to have to do, just like everything we do at Real, like we talked about earlier, is we're going to want to launch things, we're going to want to test, we're going to see what's working, we're going to get feedback from agents, we're going to improve things, right? Like everyone knows, right, how we work.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited about the potential we have here to
Yeah.
be in a much better place than someone else.
Yeah. So I might be putting you on the spot a little bit here because this was before your time, and we can blame, I think, Pratesh for this. But the statement was made publicly, by the way, that at some point there could very well be the capability for some sort of crowdfunding, where people that qualify, where they have enough assets, for example, a notification might appear on my phone, and it may say something like, for example, uh, there is a $30,000 capital need within the real community. Would you like to participate in lending at whatever, 11%, 12%, whatever the number is? Is that something you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, I say it's a great idea, right? Like I 100% share your view, and anyone's view that this is something we should look into. And we've done some very preliminary research into it. So I think it's something we could do. I think,
Mhm.
as you kind of hinted at there already, there are rules in the US around who
Mhm.
can and can't invest in these
Mhm.
types of things, right? So it might
Mhm.
not be available to every agent, but it could be
Mhm.
available to some agents that qualify. Uh,
Mhm.
but I'll say, well, there's two things I love about this. Um, One is the practical point. Obviously, it's great news if we can bring more capital into the system, and that
Mhm.
enables us to lend to more agents that need cash. Then that helps the whole ecosystem to grow. That's brilliant, right? But I think philosophically, more than that, I think it just speaks to what's so special about Real, because Real is obviously more than just a collection of individual agents all doing their own thing, right? Real is a community of agents who, support each other in big ways and small, right? Whether maybe they're part of a team together, maybe they're just communicating through the academy and through our other social spaces. But the point is that Real is ultimately a community of agents, right? It's not just
Yeah.
a collection of agents. And so
Yeah.
I think something like this, the crowdfunding, is just another manifestation of
Mhm.
the culture that we're trying to build at Real.
Yeah. Yeah. So that being said, you mentioned team functionality. And
Yeah.
so I'd love to talk about team functionality. I want to circle back to the points based system as well. With team functionality, again, these are things that have been said since you've been here, and right, prior to your coming to Real. As a team leader, right? So I'll be acquiring points, and I'll be acquiring a lot of points because I'm getting a percentage of what our team does, right? The company is getting a percentage. And so, is it on the roadmap for me as the team leader to have the ability to take points from my wallet and distribute them to my team members' wallets as an attaboy or an attagirl for a job well done?
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. Here's what I'd say to this. I think firstly, like, I want to just be really open about this. We've really focused so far on building wallet features that
Hmm.
work as well as they can for individual agents.
Hmm.
But I'll say we haven't quite cracked it when it comes to building even the existing stuff we have out there, the checking account and the other accounts and the cards. They're not perfectly calibrated for the different
Hmm.
needs that teams can have. So I think
Hmm.
there's an amazing opportunity for us, and we've definitely got it in us in sort of in our sights to to take another look at how we
Mm,
can like enable these products to work really well for teams. And I think
mm,
one part of that, as you've just said, is also about making sure that the rewards program works well for teams. And
yeah,
maybe that's a great idea, right? To allow teams to be able to transfer the points within themselves. But we do
yeah.
need to do that. So, if I think about what's what's on my kind of hit list for the
Hmm.
to really nail for everyone. There's the rewards program, getting that live and launched. We know how important that is, and it's we just desperately want to start rewarding agents for using Wallet. Expanding our lending product, getting that US product out there, and then bringing it to more and more states. And I think that's going to be super exciting. And then it's improving our all of our wallet products to make them better calibrated for the needs of teams. Those are
Yeah.
the three biggest priorities.
Yeah, got it. Well, and what I love about you being here, Dominic, is because you have experience in this space, you can, I'm sure when you jumped in originally, like all these ideas were thrown at you and you're like, time out. Let's make sure let's work out all the kinks first. And then, yeah, and what's so exciting about that is like, the sky's the limit. Once we launch it, we break it, we launch it, we break it, we break it, we break it, and and we're fixing and solving. There's so many, possibilities with artificial intelligence, with with our tech stack in general, and now with this financial technology product. So, what can you tell us about the points-based system today? Is that at a point now where, for example, um, when I spend $1 on my Amex card, right? Then there's a point allowance. There's a maybe it's 1-to-1, whatever you want to call it. But what can you tell us, if anything, today about how that point system could impact, let's say, for example, the fees? All of these cloud-based brokerages have fees. What I tell people all the time is that, because it's such a low capping model, right? We have a $12,000 cap at Real. The fees are one of the ways that all of these virtual models stay profitable, they stay scalable. We can, hire amazing people like you. But the ability to offset those fees by utilizing our banking platform, swiping that debit card and or the credit card, um, what can you tell us about that relationship with points versus, offsetting fees?
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're right on the money, right? I think that's we want to kind of share all the details when we're ready to, but the idea is that the
You're
point
not ready to do it on this podcast? Yeah.
the point, what I can say today, the points that you're going to earn are going to be valuable, right? And they're going to be valuable because you can use them for valuable things. Like, for example, a great valuable thing would be using them to offset fees. Like, we want to make sure we're really clear about exactly how it's going to work with everyone, so there's no confusion. But exactly that. We also want to reward the agents who use our products the most and engage with us the most, right? And
Hmm.
I said ultimately rewards is we don't this wallet's not going to succeed on the basis of one feature. This is not a thing where
Hmm.
there's just
Hmm.
one feature that gets you to use it, right? We're not gonna beat the banks just by having a great rewards program.
Hmm.
The way we're going to beat the banks is by meeting the holistic needs that agents have. And I think
Hmm.
that's hopefully what people can start to see already with what we're building and what's coming, right? It's already the case that if you use Wallet, you can get paid more quickly into your account than you would if you use an external account. You can spend that money right away with a debit card. You can avoid surprises if you use the tax planning account to set money aside for taxes. You'll be able
Amen.
to access funds to manage your cash flow and grow your business through the lending product. You'll earn rewards points when you
Hmm.
use that card and when you save money, and we'll make it better for teams. So it's a package, right, of
Yes. Yes.
that meets
Yeah.
the overall needs
I
of
love it.
the way that a bank just never could. Yeah.
I love how you just summarized it because, yeah, I mean, what bank could really compete against that, once this thing all comes together? So, Dominic, is there anything that you can share? And
I'm also
uh,
coming a little bit up to time, by the way, but happy to if you
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
want
yeah,
to. Yeah, sure.
yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's wrap with what what are you most excited about, as it relates to the wallet? What are you most excited about?
I think what I would say is this, right? I think when I was first meeting the team at Real a few months ago now, talking about Wallet and talking about the company and the brokerage and the community and the agents that we have and this special thing we're building, something that Tamir said to me that really resonated and I think kind of continues to inspire me every day as we build out Wallet is that ultimately we're working with agents at Real that aren't just trying to do a job or run a business, though of course they're doing those things, but really what they're trying to do is to build long-term wealth for themselves and
Mm,
their families, right?
mhm, mhm.
And um, I think that is a great summary of of what Real as a brokerage offers agents, but it's also so perfectly aligned with what we're doing with Wallet because we're directly supporting that mission and
Yeah.
that kind of goal that people have as they work with Real, because we're going to provide them with the right financial solutions and products to meet that goal as well. And I
Yeah.
just have so much respect for each and every agent that we work with. I said at the beginning, I've spent my career helping entrepreneurs, helping small business owners, um, and I think that mission and that goal that we share is what gets me up in the morning every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dominic, appreciate you so much. I know you and your team are so busy behind the scenes, trying to build this thing out. And just, I'm so grateful that you're involved with Real. And thanks for spending a few minutes with us this afternoon. Have a great day.
100%. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thanks,
Okay.
Clayton.
Take care. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.